Sometimes the most stressful part of tournament fishing is figuring out what you're actually going to fish every year. And it seems like the leagues want you to send your deposits up and sign earlier and earlier every year. So I needed to get this done because I have a looming deadline and some decisions to make. So I figured let's just do it together. Let's do it live. Let's figure this out together. So we're trying something new. I promise you, I'm efforting on some guests, and I've got some people lined up. Just none of them could do it this week, so we're gonna have some fun and figure it out. And I'm gonna kind of give you a little inside scoop on how I go about planning my tournament season and what I consider and how I break it down and build a calendar. And maybe you'll find something helpful or interesting. Maybe you won't, but we'll do it together and we'll have some fun. So that's the premise of HellaBass Live tonight, Wednesday night, presented by Arsenal Fishing, boosted by Powerhouse Lithium. Both those companies boosting the tournament season next year as well. Depending on if you're watching on the wide screen and you want to be there, that's great. If you're watching on the narrow screen on your phone, you want to be there, that's great. But if you want to switch between them, there are options for both. Yeah, I haven't got out this week, and we inherited my mother-in-law's dog through the weekend. And I just don't know. He's got something wrong with his foot, and we have 2 dogs, and my wife's back is out, and I just don't know if that's gonna bid well for me getting out fishing this weekend. Just, you gotta there's a different wide stream. You gotta select the other stream on YouTube. So, if it's too confusing, maybe I gotta get away from it, but, I just figured more reach. It looks like most people are on the wide. Michael Bradley, Bill, Brian, Trevor, you guys are on the narrow. North Star Custom Baits going fish the next 4 days. I wish. Work and life seems to be sounds good, looks good. Sounds good. Yeah, as you age, your stream varies. That's a good point, Little Rich. Trevor had a good week in Gunnersville last week. Nice. But yeah, so I have started. I think I got most of the dates plugged into my sheet here, so I shouldn't have to do too much of that. I don't have all the information that I would like to have at this point. And here's the situation. The Classic Bass Champions Tour, which I requalified for, deposits are due Monday, November 17th. So I have to put $500 non-refundable deposit down by Monday if I'm going to fish that. And they did have a date change recently. They moved back the lacrosse or the first tournament from May 19th to May 12th, which has created a conflict, in my opinion, for myself on what I was hoping to fish. So, that all being said, it's like we got to get this done this week and figure it out. And I'd like to hear what you guys think as we go through this. So, I started putting all the dates of the tournaments I know, and some of these are guesses. I should maybe like this is a guess. This is a guess. This still not locked in. And then all these are obviously to be determined guesses as well. These are all the tournaments. All the ones in red and all the ones in the bottom are ones that are not finalized yet. So, and I kind of got a little priority system. I got kind of a ranking system over here on the right. We don't really, there's some team tournaments we don't really The only thing we're registered for right now is the St. Jude. That's the only thing for sure that I'm registered for, put my money in and paid is for St. Jude, Wabasha, May 2nd. So that's and so we got let's see here. So the biggest conflict really here is right here. I really wanted to fish. Oh, did I take that one out on accident? Somehow the I need to put in one of these. Must have deleted it. Let's see here. Is 5/9/26. Nope, 5/8/26. And these are Friday through Saturday, which means it ends on the 10th. All right. So our sticky wicket all of a sudden is, as we like to fish the national championship if we possibly can, and want to make it 3 in a row, even though we don't know where the national championship is. Yeah, I can see Trevor Wagner making a special spreadsheet for your yak tournaments. Maybe this will be helpful. Maybe give you some ideas. So it's really right here. Well, I need to resort this by dates. It's these two tournaments right here that is my conundrum. Is this one actually, and it maybe tell us a little bit of a story here. Let's actually add in, because this plays into the puzzle as well, the St. Jude. We've got this 3 tournament bundle right here. So we're registered for the Jude. We're locked in for that. And that's going to require a couple days of practice. And that ends on the 3rd. Practice for the Bass Nation qualifier starts on the 4th. Then the tournament is the 8th, 9th, and 10th. The only reason you fish the Bass Nation qualifier really is to make the national championship. And to do that, you have to fish day 3, which gets you to the 10th. So now we're working on 9 straight days of fishing. Maybe 1 day off in there, but out of town, away from home, fishing tournaments, 9 straight days. Official practice for the Classic Bass first tournament now starts on May 8th. So you get 3.5 days for Classic Bass, which is an every fish counts tournament. Thanks for stopping in, Tom. Have fun. And like pre-spawn, relax against the 50 guys that I'll be fishing against. If I fish the nation and do well in it to make Sunday, it means I only get 6 hours, a half day of practice on Monday, when everybody else will pretty much fish 3.5 days of practice, fishing on $1,000 entry fee. So it's like, just can't do it. Like, you got to pick one or the other. So I basically have to decide, do I want to fish the Bass Nation Lacrosse qualifier that I believe, based on rumors, would send me to Hartwell in the fall if I can finish in the top 20? But I basically would be giving up the Classic Bass season or I got to fish the first term of the year on a half day of practice and hope not to get slaughtered and get so far behind in the points that I can still make the championship and requalify. I mean, I think requalifying I could still do, but like the point is to make the championship and fish for the boat. And putting up like a 40th place finish in the first tournament is going to make it really hard. So, like, and you want to like that's where the money's going to be made, is in the classic bass. So, really a conundrum there. So that's what's really kind of driven the date up of like making the decisions, mapping it out, is this conflict here. Not to mention, I then would be fishing from basically April 30th all the way to May 12th consecutively without being home. And I just don't think Mrs. HellaBass and my girls are going to be a big fan of that. So I feel like, what do you guys think? Classic Bass or the Bass Nation qualifier? What's the move? What would you pick? Ralph's back, rejoining Team Hella. What's going on? Good to see you back, Ralph. Ralph just had a big thing down in Virginia where they had some really cold temps, but he won some giveaways and some rods. Well, welcome back, Ralph. Good to see you again. Whatever keeps Mrs. Hellabass from strangling you. MJ say classic bass pretty easy. Buy your diamonds. It'd be cheaper to fish the tournaments. No big deal, Ralph. Not a big deal, anyways. 18 degrees wind chill. Go get it. Um. Oh, recreational shopping. Noah says do classic bass. I need an admin that like participates and types out my my social media for me. Sounds good, Stephanie. Are you fishing the St. Jude? You signed up, or are you just coming down to like support and help and all that kind of stuff? I should have brought some of my hats down. I don't have my hats handy tonight. Trying to make money or make a classic. I don't want them to be mutually exclusive. But a classic is on my list. Money comes, money goes, but you know, making a Bassmaster Classic is forever. Isn't that a saying somewhere? Kyle only says I would pick the one that I have the most confidence for winning. I mean, if it was just one tournament, you know, if there wasn't the new like 50-person field and requalification and all that stuff tied to classic bass anymore, I would probably fish the Bass Nation. But I actually feel like, I mean, I just have more experience on the river that time of year. 2 years ago, I cashed a nice check, made the national championship. Like, there's no guarantees in fishing, but like, I've never fished pre-spawn bass on Mille Lacs. It should be really fun. It should be really good. But not going to probably figure it out in 6 hours, and a 10 by 10 square mile lake in 6 hours enough to beat all the wolves in classic bass field. So you saw it on a Hallmark card? I think so. It sounds right. What's up, Frank? Uh yeah. So that's really the conundrum too. And then so it got me thinking is, well, it was like, could I fish the other qualifiers, right? Do I make the long drive to Cherokee or Toledo Bend in April? Toledo Bend's getting a little close to the St. Jude. Cherokee, April, could done. You could wait and go to the Bass Nation qualifier in Friday, July 31st on Champlain. That probably butts up to the Minnesota Bass Nation, which we don't know the answer to. It's also, yeah, where is the so like right after Bokegama, you could scoot out. That's going to be, the thing is like all those other, I mean, Cherokee is probably 15 hours. Toledo Bend is probably 12 hours. Champlain's probably like 18 hours. Like none of those are close. Those are all a haul, which makes sense because when you have one that's 2 hours from you, that means the other ones are probably not going to be close. 2/3 of the people say classic bass in the yeah. Tip back one for me, Frank. Or Tom. So it's really like, and then it's like if you do make it, then you are, you're signing up for an October, November tournament going to Hartwell, which is I've driven to North Carolina. I want to say that was like 22 hours or something ridiculous like that. um so I was like, well, what else can I do? If I don't do the qualifiers and just kind of take a year off from the Bass Nation, then what would I potentially backfill with? So then it got me thinking, what if I return to the BFLs? Good reminder from Brian. Hit the thumbs up. Jenna, if you could hit the thumbs up for your hubby, that'd be great. Since we know he won't do it. For Noah. So what does it look like if we mix the BFLs in? No, I didn't. I need to look up the regional. Need to add that in. That's missing from the equation right now. Let's see, I think they're going to BFL regional because I do have also would like to go to a regional and try to make a BFL All American sometime. So I think Grand Lake. In October, which I fished 2 years ago in November. So you got a little bit of experience there. That's actually much closer. Grand Lake. Is closer than any of the qualifiers. So maybe that's an option. And I think making the regional, feel like confident if I fish the full region, I could make the regional for the BFL. Don't want to be like overconfident. Receive your beautiful stars. They don't show up on StreamYard, and I'm not watching the so if you sent some scars via Facebook, shout out to you, Mr. Jordan Hartman. But I wouldn't have saw him on the StreamYard, but appreciate it. Yeah, sounds right. So never fished a BFL regional. I qualified the 1 year I did it, way back when. I think that's what is that? A Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that could be, so like if we mix this in, is this something that makes sense? So if we do clear all these. Let me do the BFL Regional Classic Bass. Let's put the Pro-Am in there. I don't know how that fits into the schedule. So, like, we start to look at this. I suppose we have to add the Jude back in there. What does that look like? So we'd be starting in April 18th. Thanks, Ralph. I mean, it is it's Google Sheets, but yeah, we got. I mean, this is pretty simple. This is very simple filtering stuff. This is child's play, but appreciate it. So we'd have started April 18th. Get started early. We'd have 2 weeks to get ready for the St. Jude. Nice spacing there. Decent spacing, getting ready for class. We'd have another week off before Classic Bass. Quick turnaround for BFL and lacrosse. But I get a pretty good idea what they'd be doing. I've fished down there, you know. So 12th is a Tuesday. Go back to work Wednesday. Then do I take 2 days off work? So that's a little tight. But maybe we wing it. Try a 1-day practice, day and a half practice. Go to work for 2 days. Then you got a nice break to go into Big Stone. Classic Bass Pro-Am is not Tonka, that's Gull, but I think the date is correct. Which Gull is probably going to be a fantastic tournament. That's an 8-fish tournament with an AM. Decent break there. Why did it sort like that? You got the Bago BFL. So that's a little. It's a little. Again, you got another tight classic Bago BFL where you got basically a Tuesday into a Saturday. Doesn't give a lot of time to practice for these two BFLs. Classic Bass Pro-Am could be fun. We actually have kind of a big break there. The nice thing about the BFL is you can sign up as you go. The Bass Nation Regional is conflicted with Classic Bass, Nick. We have kind of decided that we might have to skip that to fish Bass Nation or to Classic Bass, unfortunately. Unfortunately. So we're looking at other options here. This is a big problem when practice is right on top of the Bass Nation on lacrosse. You know it. Got that on a mug. So we got probably would fish the Pro-Am this year, assuming things are going good in life. Gulls should be a fun lake. Spacing is good. That is the weekend of my anniversary, June 21st. So that could be a conflict. I don't think we have to sign up for that for a little while. And then Pokegama, July 21st. The Bass Nation TOC is probably going to be the first 2 weeks in August, but they haven't locked that in yet. And then the Classic Bass TOC, which we hope to qualify, top 25, fall there. And then decent break there to go the BFL. I mean, so there's a couple tight turnarounds on some BFLs. But other than that, this is like could be a pretty solid schedule. And it would while I would not have a chance to go to the Bass Nation National Championship and be a legend like Nick Trim, I could potentially go to a regional and make an All-American, which is not a bad consolation prize. So what do you guys think of something like that? Yeah, I fished on my anniversary too, Dustin. Yeah, I never heard of her. Um, Typically have a place to stay in lacrosse, so that helps keep. I mean, the thing is, like, I was thinking about this. I could basically, I know there's other qualifiers, but they're all not close, and I could fish the entire. Like, I don't have unlimited time off. You know, my family doesn't own the business I work for, so um I could do all the travel for all the BFLs in the regional for probably less than I could do one trip to one of the other qualifiers. That's true. Get married in October through February. That'd be my advice. Good advice, Sam. Um, we could. I mean, the one qualifier that really sounds fun, but also know that like it's going to be scope dominated is Champlain, which is this one, which it's kind of like that's a long drive to go out there and swing that and come back for the state tournament. I'm probably better off like pre-practicing for the state tournament and really trying to like top 5 that to make sure I got like a qualifier route or get into a natty that way. So, yeah, the ROI on the travel for some of these qualifiers to then just go to Hartwell is so kids sports. Yeah, kids sports. So my oldest will be done with soccer this winter and the spring. So she's gonna, maybe there's some conflicts early in the year here. Um, but it's her club season. I don't think she'll be too mad. I did a really good job of being around for the high school senior season. And then my daughter will be done in like March with hockey. She'll have some spring tournaments, but like AAA stuff, not too big. So like this year, sports should be less of a conflict. Yeah. I'm kind of like pretty much locked into doing the champs tour. It's just how do I build a good schedule around it to make myself not miss trying to go for the nation championship. Yeah, I don't deer hunt, so this is kind of. I mean, there was other tournaments on there, like the TBF Team Trail, but they haven't announced their dates yet. TBF semis are usually in the fall. They haven't announced those yet. TBF TOC. So, right, like think TBF TOC is going to be on Tonka, so that's close to my house. So like that's probably easy to fit in somewhere. And then the semis are usually in September, which probably fall before the like. There's probably a pretty good gap to fit those in as well, which would be another route to get to the BFL All American and National Championship. Yeah, I just don't with the requalification and the $1,000 entry fee in the classic bass. I don't think it makes sense. Well, then the other thing is like, right, I'm already signed up for the Jude, and so if I fish the Jude and the qualifier and classic bass, it's literally what I say, 12 days away from home, 13 straight, which is probably not a recipe for success. So, nothing dialed in for a boys trip, but light conversation. Yeah. The thing is, I agree. Winging pre-spawn mille lacs is not an ideal plan. I feel like the fish are going to be grouped up, and if you're not on groups in every fish tournament, that's the other thing you have to remember is classic bass isn't every fish tournament counts tournament. If mille lacs was a 5 fish tournament, I also would be much more apt to wing it because you can practice like 6 hours of practice. You get a couple clues, but the thing is, we have a lake split, so you have to cover a lot of water in 6 hours to get an idea, and you have to be catching fish all day and good fish. If it was a 5 fish tournament with no lake split, I'd be much more apt to wing it and see what happens. So that's kind of the conundrum. The other thing is, based on how they invite people to regionals, I don't even know if you have to fish all 5 events to make a regional. Based on recently, I think Chris Miller fished one BFL tournament and got invited to the qualifier. So I could just fish the lacrosse ones, cherry pick. The other thing is, you can think of, I now own a Phoenix. The Phoenix contingencies are really good for the BFL. So that is another thing to consider. I don't know. What am I not thinking about? What other things? Is there other tournaments? Like I've got a couple other random tournaments listed on there, but those ones are just not high priority tournaments for me. Yeah, I think my understanding is this year, like if you already fished, I think this year's state tournaments and next year's qualifiers will be very similar to this year, and then it's the following year they're going to make the shift, is my understanding. Do the math for gas and hotels. That's kind of the thing too on those. Like if I want, lacrosse, I would have had a free place to stay. It's close. Like going to Cherokee, Toledo Bend, Champlain, those are all going to be really expensive trips. The BFLs, you can ball on a budget, camp locally, sleep in the back of the pickup. I got buddies. The classic bass is what it is. There are a couple places I know, places to stay. Like I'm not too concerned about that. Oh, the BFL format. You're saying it won't be as easy to get in? Yeah, I fished all the fisheries on the BFL schedule. And the thing is, like the BFLs, you don't have to sign up for the whole season. Like I can just sign up for the first one, see how it goes, sign up for the next one, see how it goes. And if it's rolling and things are working out, like it's not the end of the world. If I fish 2 or 3 or 4, like I could easily fish 2 or 3 of them, and that might be enough to make the regional if you just have half decent finishes. So, and they're not that expensive, right? They're $200, and if you can keep your travel expenses down, it's really not a big impact. Gabe says going back to 40 from points and 5 winners, so 45 from regional. But they will call down the list if those top 40 don't take. How many did they take to each? How far did they go down the list this year, Gabe? Yeah, how many did they take this year? You're going to the kayak series, or I should go to the kayak series? Can I just cut up a piece of plastic and put it in my Phoenix and fish kayak tournaments? Isn't that what you do? Like it was, but what was it supposed to be? Like it was supposed to be 60? I guess not how far did they go? What was their target to start? What are the majority of the guys that fish classic bass say? Do they want me to stay or go? I don't know if they care. 60. So they're cutting it. So, I mean, obviously, it wasn't a great regional destination this year. Grand Lake's probably a little better. I guess it depends the divisions they're pulling from. But Grand Lake's not super close to the Great Lakes region, and I forget who else is going there. But they're not all 40 guys are gonna go. So like if you're in the top 50, 60 points, you probably get an invite. Um, yeah, probably don't have time for kayak tournaments. Nothing against kayak tournaments. The other thing is you have to figure out like time off, which I didn't. I started to do that, right? So like BFL should plan for at least 2 days off. St. Jude, 2 days. Classic Bass, that's 3 days. That BFL would be at max 2 days. Might be one day. Classic Bass is pretty much all of those are 3 days. Friday, Monday, Tuesday. Let's just they would just move those BFLs to Sundays, it'd be a lot easier. Classic Bros Pro Am, that'd be another 3 days. Three days. State tournaments 4 days. Another 3 days. 2 days. Depending on what day of the week they have it. One, two. How are we doing? Is this totaling correctly? 33. That's a lot. I do get unlimited vacation, but that I might be pushing it because this is going to be a fiver. That's what I'm supposed to. That's not, but we have unlimited. This is the number down here that's totaling, right? Yeah, 38. That's a lot. That might be more than my boss is going to sign off for unlimited. Tim Grant's going to go to Illinois to Caddo. That'd be cool. That's supposed to be really cool. Like I think you'll enjoy that, Tim. So these other ones with a short turnaround, we might have to. So we might have to make this a 1. Make that a 1. Pro Am, we can probably get away with 2, just Monday and Tuesday. 35. That's 7 weeks. That's a lot. Oof. I mean, if I would not make cuts like at state tournaments, I could work those Fridays, but I have a habit of doing that. I don't know if these are Friday, Saturday, Saturday, Sunday tournaments, Sunday, Mondays. That might be a little much. So it might be classic bass, TBF state, Bass Nation state, start fishing some BFLs and see how it goes. It's probably the plan. High level. What do you guys think? Can follow along? Just something you can get on board with? Sold? We're assuming that Peter doesn't do something crazy and move the Bass Nation on top of something. Is the goal to stream them all? That's a good question. I wouldn't stream anything that would have a co-angler. So I wouldn't stream BFLs because I don't feel like it's fair to ask a BFL co-angler or a Bass Nation or a TBF co-angler to work around having a Starlink up their wazoo. So, you're supposed to be able to offer a butt seat, not something they have to work around. I mean, here's a good question for the co-anglers, Gabe. How would you feel if your boater did not give you a seat and there was a Starlink mini coming out of the pedestal pole that you had to work around all day as a BFL co-angler? So I would plan to stream the St. Jude, all classic bass events, and anything I didn't draw a co for some reason in. So it would probably be 3 to 5 classic bass events, and the St. Jude would get live streams. No, it's not about it's not about it's about what's fair to the co-angler and their expectations on the back deck. Suppose I could figure out a way to put the Starlink on the front deck and I could work around it. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, would you be ticked if there was a Starlink mini on the back deck? Feel like you would. So anything that's a pro-am. I mean, like the pro-am for the classic bass, if I did that, that should be fine because we're a team. We can both fish off the front deck on that one. But like anything that's a boater, non-boater draw to me is not something I should be streaming. Yeah. And there's a lot of guys that require seats either because of age, bad knees, bad backs, things like that. So you just have to be accommodating for that. I already bought the one that I have. It's not that big. It's just the fact that you've got it coming out of I don't know. Suppose I could put it on the front deck, but I don't know. Do boaters ever allow cows to fish from the front? So in like BFLs, Bass Nation, TBF, Toyotas, all those have pretty strict rules that the cows are not allowed to fish off the front deck. And also the boaters are not allowed to fish off the back deck. They do that to keep an even playing field because if some boaters allowed cows up front and some didn't, it's obviously a huge advantage if boaters allow them up there. So they basically draw a hard line saying boaters can't go forward, non-boater. I mean, like to land a fish you can, but like actively fishing, you kind of gotta split it up. Yeah, I mean, there are probably other ways to mount a Starlink somewhere else. Like obviously the way like if I had Raptors, not Raptors, if I had Talons instead of Raptors, you could probably mount it to a Talon pretty easily. Like you have that contraption that like I could see since Logan Parks can't live stream the Elite Series, maybe I could buy his rig. If you get it more rigid back towards the motor, or rig it behind your graphs off the console or something. But it's really easy and solid to just put it into a pedestal post. Any other rigging is like probably drilling holes in your deck or things like that, and I don't know. Let's take a quick 1 minute break and hammer out any questions anybody has. Maybe does anybody want to do open mic tonight? Anybody want to join the stream?
Are you ready to reel in your next home purchase or refinance? Supreme Lending's Dream Team can help guide you through the entire mortgage process, from pre-qualification all the way to closing. The Dream Team has a wide variety of home loan programs in our tackle box, including down payment assistance and first-time homebuyer options. You can ask HellaBass. He trusted us to help finance his home. Contact the Dream Team today by searching Supreme Lending Dream Team, or click the link below in the description, or scan the QR code right now on your screen.
So you got the original OG version, not the voiceover. That was the read by myself Dream Team. So shout out to Aaron Degas Dream Team supporting the HellaBass Live. If you guys are in the market, give them a scan, give them a call. No Sleepy Dustin tonight. Who did Gabe have on last night? I did not catch it. We had high school hockey. It was the opener for Farmington High School girls. They were on the road at Owatonna. JV and varsity both swept things, shutouts against Owatonna. So it was a good night for Farmington hockey. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a fixed, like, so the way I have it on a pedestal, it can turn, but like as my boat turns, so does, like, ideally, for best performance on a Starlink, you would line it up with your satellites, but you'd have to have some kind of like motorized auto alignment on your boat to constantly rotate as you move, which seems like a lot. Roger Fitzpatrick. Ozark goaded. I might have to go back and listen to that one. If I'm gonna make a run at the BFL regional next year, I'm gonna have to go back and listen to the Roger Fitzpatrick's Tin Horse Monty stream. Speaking of goats, co-angler goats winning regional boats. What's going on, Gabe?
Nothing, man. How are you?
Good. Last night wasn't enough. You're like, more streams. Let's go.
What the heck, man? I'm just sitting down here. I was getting ready to do some editing. I clicked on your stream just to see what was going on. And yeah, I'm always good for an invite. I got like a weird. So I got your split screen. Your the phone one's going on the left, and then the regular one's going on here. There's like a delay.
Yeah. So the new StreamYard allows you to pick normal widescreen, vertical streaming, or you can do both simultaneously.
Huh.
So the last couple weeks, I've been dabbling with basically running 2 streams at the same time on YouTube. One for phone sideways, tablets, TVs, and one for people that want to watch vertically on their phone.
I wonder how I get rid of the vertical one, because it's showing up on mine.
Yeah, I don't know that you.
There's like a delay. There's like I'm hearing what I'm saying, and then just a couple seconds behind, I'm hearing it again.
Oh, I don't hear it on my end. Maybe just turn your volume down. I don't know. That's weird. You don't have like YouTube open in the background still, do you?
Yep, probably so. Yep, we're good. That's what it was.
I did hide that now, so it doesn't distract you. Though I hit it so it doesn't.
Let's see. I can still see mine, but I'm only hearing one thing, so that's good. I can deal with the split personality thing. So you got the Northern Lights up there, your neck of the woods?
Supposedly, I can't see them from my basement. And last night I was driving from Owatonna to Minneapolis, straight up 35, thinking I would see them at like 9 o'clock last night. And I couldn't see them.
Really? It was really prominent here.
I'm kind of close to the cities. I get a lot of light pollution where I live. Like I'm south of Minneapolis, St. Paul. So looking north, I'm looking at downtown Minneapolis, and it's just light. You know what I mean? So that's probably part of the problem. Like if I was on the north side of the cities looking north, I bet you I would see it much better. But I don't know.
Yeah, my wife, I was doing that live stream last night, and about it was probably like 9:15. My phone started blowing up. She was texting me, and she got home from work at like 8:40ish, and she's not a Facebook, Instagram person. She doesn't even have any accounts. So she organically just walked outside on the back deck, and we live out in the country. We got very minimal like light pollution, and she just looks up in the sky and she's like, "What the?" Kind of freaked her out. You know, the sky was like all red, kind of dancing. So she's sitting there texting me. Of course, I'm in the middle of doing something else, but yeah, there's all kinds of pretty cool pictures, even down this far south. But I went out there. I've been checking it because they were saying tonight's supposed to be even better, and I've checked like 5 times, and there's nothing. There's nothing out there right now. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if it's just going to happen later or whatever, but it's pretty cool. No, that's for me. Hey, Gabe, did Phoenix pick up? Yeah. So GSM bought Mid-America Rod, and Mid-America Rod is the facility down in Arkansas that makes Virtus rods. It's actually kind of a fun fact. It's the same place that the Falcon rods were made. The American, when they were made here in the American, like the Karas, they were made in that same factory. So Phoenix, GSM owns Phoenix, and they incorporated the Virtus line into the Phoenix line. So it's available through Phoenix, and they're still made in America. You know, they've got 2 lines right now. They got the Red Diamond series and the Blue Diamond series. And I've been fishing with those for couple years. You know, they're all made, like the blanks and stuff are made, all the graphite and all that stuff is made down there in Arkansas. And then they have somebody in the area that wraps all the guides. They have a couple different people. So they make the rod, the blanks, and then they give them to certain people in the area that wrap all the guides, and they put all the, you know, the seating and all that stuff. So it's, you know, it's essentially made 100% in America. Of course, Fuji, you know, the guides are from somewhere else.
Some of the components are Japanese or whatever. Yeah.
But it's more American than most rods for sure.
Yeah. Them and probably Cashin.
So. Yeah. There's a few out there, you know, but they're sweet, man. If you get a chance to, you know, unfortunately there's not a lot of places where you can just go in and carry them. It's not like Dobbins where you can go in just about every store and there's a Dobbins rod. They're a little bit more niche, but if you do know of some place that has one, go in there and try them out. They're freaking sweet. I mean, I really like them. I mean, not just because I'm working with them. The reason I'm working with them is because I had my hands on some when I was fishing with my buddy Dale Colvin down on Bull Shoals. He's a guide down there, and he had several of them. And I started fishing with them. I'm like, man, these are pretty sweet because, you know, I've got some Falcon Caras, and I love those rods as well. But these Virtus, man, they're solid. They're really well balanced. They're super sensitive.
Are they Phoenix Virtus or just Virtus now?
They're Phoenix Virtus. Yeah.
Okay.
And I know you've got some of the higher end Dobbins stuff, and it's like, you know, if you go, I was fishing some loose stuff before that, and they're decent rods. But when you go to a higher quality rod, a better sensitive rod, it takes a little bit of getting used to. You know, I found that I was setting the hook on like rocks and pieces of wood and stuff because it was so, you're getting so much feedback that you weren't used to getting that it feels like a bite. Like what felt like a bite on a lesser rod was just, you know, a rock or something on a more sensitive rod. So there's definitely, especially with like a chatterbait or a swim jig, that's when I really noticed it. Like a moving bait, that rod is so dang sensitive that you'd feel that the transmission of the bite up the line to the rod is almost instantaneously with a real sensitive rod. And I was pulling the bait away from the fish because it's just like instant. And it took me a little bit of practice to get used to, you know, that sensitivity. And I kind of had to teach myself to just to pause for just a half a second and let the rod load up. But yeah, they're American made rods. I know.
What's the price point on those?
The Red Diamond's like $300. It's like $299. The Blue Diamonds, I think it's 209. So they're a little bit of an investment. I mean, unfortunately, they don't have a lower price point stuff, but it's more expensive to make rods in America for sure. But I do feel like you get what you pay for. I always tell people it's like, save up a little bit, just put a little money aside here and there, and get you a little bit better rod, especially for that like bottom contact type stuff. It really makes a difference. They got a killer chatterbait rod too. Their bladed jig rod in the Blue Diamond series. It's like a 7'3", 7'2", I think it's 7'3", but I've fallen in love with that rod. And that's the kind of rod you can use with a spinner bait. I throw a flutter spoon a lot, like a 1 ounce flutter spoon on it. I'll throw an underspin, a smaller paddle tail, something about half ounce, just a 3.8, something that size paddle tail. It's not like you can only fish chatterbaits with it. It's most of their rods are pretty multifunctional. So it's an investment, but they got a pretty good warranty, and you'll like it for sure. But it's not like you're going to go out and buy like 20 of them one time. It's not like some of those rods where you buy 3 and they throw in 2. It's a little bit of investment, but it's a good quality product, and I've been pretty pleased with it.
So kind of on topic, like how does Gabe decide what he's going to fish next year? Has he started thinking about it? What's his process?
Man, that's a good question, dude. Ever since I won that boat in 2024, of course I didn't get it. I didn't get it until spring of this year, but people have been saying, are you going to jump over to the boater side? Because, some of you that are on here probably may not know this, but, I fished fished co-angler in the BFLs for probably like 10 years off and on. I mean, I skipped out a few years when, right before Major League Fishing bought it was FLW, and every year they kept raising their entry fees. So I sat out for a couple of years, but, since probably like 2019, I've been pretty consistent on the co-angler side. And so I'm like 95% sure I'm jumping over to the boater side. But kind of like, it's funny, you were looking at your schedule, trying to line up all your days off. That's one of the issues that I'm going to run into with a co-angler. I mean, I like to get on the water at least one day, but I don't absolutely have to, especially on lakes. Like I fished the LBL division, which is Kentucky and Barkley Lake. And I've been there enough to kind of know what I'm going to throw for the most part. And so I just kind of pack accordingly, and I can literally, it's 2 hours from my house, and I've done this a couple times. It's a long day, but I can literally get up in the morning of the tournament, drive 2 hours, jump in the boat and go fishing and drive home if I absolutely have to. Or I can get off work Friday night and drive down there. But as a boater, I'm going to want to put in 2 days to practice. Just I'm probably already going to be donating a little bit, but I want to lessen that, the burden, or lessen the odds of me just donating. So I want to put in my time. I want to, find some fish and give my co-angler a chance to catch some fish. So you're talking, instead of 1 or no days per tournament, it's going to be at least 2 times 5. And yeah, it gets expensive as far as fuel prices, entry fee, lodging, and then of course time off of work. So there's that. It's just kind of weighing things out. There's more responsibility, but it's like you just either going to do it or not. So I'm thinking by like January, I'm going to make a decision on which way I'm going to go for sure. I may do co-angler on some of the Toyota series stuff. That Plains division, Lake of the Ozarks is one of those. I think they're doing Kentucky Lake, and they might do a Grand. Those are all, within 5 hours of my house. So I may jump in the co-side in some of those Toyota series, but
like,
I'm pretty sure
if you're going to put 2 days of practice into each BFL and then fish the regional, that's 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know. You're right. I get 5 weeks. I'm fortunate in my job as a letter carrier. We get 5 weeks of vacation time a year. But man, hell, you can burn. That's just tournaments. That's not like going on vacation with your family, which we'll do some little short 3-day vacations a couple times a year. And if you got a wedding to go to, or you got there's all kinds of random single day things that pop up, you can burn through 5 weeks pretty quick. I mean, we got sick leave as that's always an option, but you try to stay away from that as much as possible. But yeah, you can burn through that so quick. It's like you kind of start out big, like your schedule was, and then you kind of like kind of crunch and downsize and then get a clearer image of not what you want to do, but what you can actually do. And so I've been looking at that. You know, I
Nice
might
thing is like, I don't know. You probably don't like. You probably can't like. Your day doesn't. It's hard for you to get out of work early, right? Like it's not like you can like knock off at 1 and hit the road. Like if you're gonna work, you got to be there till 4 or 5 o'clock, I assume, or something or whatever, right? Like
yeah, we go till the mail.
there's really no option for you to like Thursday. I'm gonna just work till lunch and then like bust down and because it stays light till 9 o'clock in June that I can get 5. Like that's probably not gonna work.
Yeah, like drop at 1, drive 2 hours, and then fish from 3:30 till dark or whatever.
Yeah.
No, the only way I can do that, I can take you can take a half day off. You can put in for like 4 hours of leave. So that's always a possibility. But unless you were just to run 100 miles an hour on your route and get it done a little bit early. But man, that's a long day. You're going 100 miles an hour, then you got to drive 2 hours, and it's kind of like there's time on the water, but then there's also like productive and efficient time on the water.
Mm-hmm.
And not just being on the water sometimes is not the best thing. You got to kind of somewhat let all that other clutter escape, and then you can actually focus on what you need to be doing. You all that background noise going on, you're going to be on the water, but you're maybe learning half of what you really need to be learning because you got all this other stuff in your head. So I don't know. I got a little bit of time to think about it, but I'll make that decision probably at the beginning of the year. And then
you write the stuff down on a notepad. Do you like make spreadsheets? Do you got any systems for making decisions? Or
I have a calendar on my, there's just a calendar on my phone, and I put in the dates of the tournaments and then how they line up with my days off. So it's kind of weird. My schedule is I have a rotating day off. So if I have Monday off one week, the following week I have Tuesday, and then it rotates to Wednesday the following week, where our work schedule starts on a Saturday. So Saturday would be the first day of the work week. Friday would be, the last day of the work week. So there's a time every 6 weeks where I get a Friday, which is the last day of the work week as my day off. And then I get Saturday, which is the first day of the following week. So I'll get a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's kind of hard to explain, but when you put it on a calendar, it makes sense. So every 6 weeks, I get that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And
but then also means there's BFLs where you got to use Saturdays, one of the days you have to take off too.
Yeah, because I don't get Saturdays off. But if one of those BFLs lines up on a Saturday, that's my long weekend, I'll have the Friday and Saturday already off. So that saves me vacation. But it's crazy how many of those don't line up.
So Sundays are always off.
Yeah, I always have Sunday off. Yep.
So it would be way better for you if BFLs were on a Sunday.
It would be nice. It'd be very nice. That's one of the downsides of my job is we don't get Saturdays off. I mean, one every 6 weeks we get off. So I don't know. We'll see. And then there's like some of these LBL division tournaments. I think the first one is in late February, and that can be borderline frozen, super cold. Yeah. There's one in the Ozark division on Table Rock that's even earlier than that. So that's almost one of those deals where I want to wait until, it's kind of a catch-22. I'd like to wait until like a week out, but then there's the linking process and you may not get in if you wait too long. So it's, I don't know.
You just make JB link with you and you're in.
It's not a bad idea, actually. You drag him out of retirement. He's been itching a little bit. He's talking about it.
Like it's $100. Let's go have a boys' weekend. Come on.
Yeah, you can do it. I'll pay. I'll throw in 25.
Interesting. You brought up the BFL fees and them going up, and they actually lowered them again this year. But I think people. I don't know. I struggle with that because like everything. I think Todd Tassel guy put this pretty well. Like everything has gotten more expensive. Gas, lodging, the boats, the equipment. Honestly, the $100 to $200 entry fees is the cheapest part of fishing a BFL, unless you live there and it's in your backyard. Like you can't stay anywhere for $100 a night anymore, unless you're but you know what I mean? Like we should probably be like, if you actually plan to like do well in the tournament and cash a check, we should probably be wishing that, the BFLs are 300 and 150. Like we should be like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's the cheapest part of your, like, if you're going to go, like, I mean, what are you going to probably spend to go fish one BFL in expenses?
Well, 200 entry fee as a boater, and then like you
So,
said, you're just
yeah,
hypothetically.
so outside of the 200, what is everything else going to add up to be?
I can get. There's a couple motels down there in Calvert City that are like $89 a night, and they're decent. They're like Days Inn, you know.
So let's call it 100 per night with taxes.
True. Yeah. And if I'm staying by myself, or hopefully you can find somebody to split it with you. But
so even then, let's say 50 best case. So you're going to be. Are you going to go down there Thursday morning? So you're going to get 2 nights hotel.
Yeah, be 2 nights.
So you got $100 in lodging, and then
fuel's
going to be $200-300
probably
for the.
Yeah, because Kentucky Lake, you run a lot. I mean, you could leave the dam and run all the way down to Paris and back and blow through like $200 of gas. Maybe not 200, but a significant amount of fuel.
Well, like truck and boat fuel for that trip's going to be $200.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's 2 hours from me. You're most of it's it's a little bit of interstate, but most of it's just 2-lane highway. So I'm thinking it's probably, I don't know. Let's see. I'm just going to go 14 gallons there, 14 gallons back. Our gas price is about $3 a gallon, roughly. It's a little bit less than $3 a gallon. And then boat fuel. You can definitely burn through 100 to $150 of boat fuel for 2 days of practice. Probably closer to 200 maybe if you're running around and really getting after it.
Yeah. So you said it's 14, so it'd be $50 each way.
So we'll call that 100.
Yeah, so 100 for your truck, 200, so that's 300 for your fuel. Are you like PB and J in? Are you going out to dinner each night? Like,
yeah, I'm typically like I buy a big, like 3 pounds of ham, some mayo, and some bread most of the time.
You're gonna eat like.
But I'm also gonna eat like a dinner probably somewhere with somebody or something, So that might
be a breakfast sandwich here and there.
No, I'll get ham sandwich for breakfast, dude. I'll go
ham sandwich for breakfast, ham sandwich for lunch. But then you're gonna probably spend
Mexican and a beer or something.
$20 a night. Yeah, $25-30 a night on dinner. So you're gonna say another $100 for food for the whole week.
That's probably fair because I'll have some other snacks stuff in the boat.
So we probably got $400 in travel expenses on a $200 entry fee.
Yeah, that's probably about right. I know, it's crazy. We're not
doing. That's what I'm saying. We probably shouldn't be complaining about $250 or $300 BFL entry fees. We probably if we actually want to make a return on our investment for that 20th place check, you probably should be paying a little more entry fee. Anyways.
Yeah, I know.
Right. Dustin wants to know, do you think Lake Egypt will be partially frozen on March 7th?
Oh, at the Spanish House, which is that's a power plant, Lake Rich, but they cut down the energy production about 7 years ago. So they're only running about 20% capacity. It used to be like the place to go in the wintertime. It was like you could literally get a top water bite in the late part of December. It was pretty phenomenal. But now it's actually frozen a couple of times. So that's all the way down away from the hot water discharge. It could be frozen. It depends on the winter. I mean, just guessing, I would think it would be open, but maybe only like a week or two ice out. I can see it. I could see it going anyway. It really depends on how harsh of a winter that we have.
A-rig bite.
A-rig bite.
Sling the meat rake.
Yeah, it's hard to beat the A-rig on that lake. There's a good flutter spoon bite on there. There's a good jig head minnow bite and a good jerkbait bite. But shaky head too. They bite that shaky head in the cold water on that lake.
I don't know. So if you're gonna go boater, how's your minnow game?
It's decent. I got to do it in 3 hours though. That's another thing that's changed this year. I'm not sure. Well, how do you feel about that?
I don't know. It seems like it's gonna be weird.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot about that when I was listing out my schedule.
I kind of like all or none almost.
The thing is, in the division I would fish, it's only really going to be a springtime player on perspective mode for betters in the river. Scoping fish doesn't really play in the Mississippi River in June, July, August, September. I'm not saying you can't scope fish. I'm just saying it's not.
Yeah, there's other ways to catch them.
Yeah, like frogs win July tournaments, not scoping minnows. Like,
yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see how it all plays out because, you know, Kentucky Lake's been dominated by the minnow shakers the last several years. Those guys are good enough to get it done in 3 hours. They only need 3 hours to get it done because they spend a lot of time on the water and they're disciplined and they run their spots and they don't lollygag around too much. So they know where to go and they know what they have to work with. But for people that don't live on the lake and only get to fish it a few times, you know, it's going to be a little bit tricky. I don't know, but yeah, my theory on that is, to me, it would be nice to have it one way or the other, either all scope or no scope. But at the same time, it will be nice if you're struggling and you're not getting the feedback from the fish that you think you should be getting back, to flip that little front looker on for 3 hours and kind of look around, see what you're missing. I mean, are the fish behind you? Are they sitting off the sides of the brush piles? You think, you know, in practice, maybe they were in the brush, but now they're suspended, you know, they're drifting around, they're out there floating around. Or are they not relating to the same stuff? There's a lot of things that can happen overnight on any given body of water. And it's nice to just kind of get an underwater look at what is actually going on if you're struggling. So I think it's going to be okay either way, but it'll definitely be an adjustment. I don't know how I feel about the policing part of that rule. You know, I think it's going to work itself out. You know, I think 99% of the boaters are going to, you know, it's on them. It's their responsibility. And I think they're going
to reputation.
Yeah. And I think it's going to work out fine. It's just that 1% of gray area that is always out there, no matter what crowd. There's always that little bit of doubt in the back of people's heads. And I don't know. I think the next couple of years are going to be very pivotal for Major League Fishing. I really do. It's going to be interesting to see.
I mean, I totally get it at the pro circuit. It makes total sense to me. Like, doing 3 hours pro league makes sense. Toyota probably still makes sense. Like, but I think at the BFLs, it's like, I think certain divisions are still going to suffer with numbers. Like, I think co-anglers are going to be like, the co-anglers that hate it still hate it, even if it's a third of the day. Then you got other co-anglers who are going to be like, I don't want to be a babysitter. Like, I don't want to have to deal with this. Right? Like, so I think there's going to be just as many that are turned off that are like excited about it being reduced. So I think like there's a really good chance that co-anglers stay flat or go down. And then I think you guys got our boaters that are like, there's probably a third that are like maybe excited, or a third that don't care. I don't know. Like, but I feel like there's people that are like, I've spent so much money and invested in this system, and spent so much time. I'm just going to go fish a league where I can fish it all day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. Maybe the people that were kind of like okay with it, take it or leave it, they're good with it. But I don't know. And then you got the haters, like, they're just going to be like, well, if Drew Gill can do it in 3 hours and kick everybody's out there, why do I want to fish against these guys in the BFLs for 3 hours? You know, like the guys that aren't going to turn their scope on anyways. I don't know. Like, I'm concerned in some of these divisions, it's going to be a hot mess and it's going to not go well. Like, just participation wise. Yeah, I could be wrong. That's my concern. Because that's not good. Like, that's not good for any of us.
No.
Is not having good numbers in the BFLs.
No. I mean, that's a grassroots organization. It's a long-standing organization, and it's you know, there's been a lot of talk about. I hear people say, "Well, why don't you just get rid of the co-anglers and just make it like a solo system?" Man, that's a tradition. I don't think that's the right way to go, in my opinion. And then there's the combining of the two weights, which is, you know, kind of like the U.S. Open type of deal. That's a little bit tricky.
Well, it's a lot of revenue for MLF.
You're exactly right. That's why it'll never happen right there. It'll never happen. Yeah, that's I mean, when you pitch,
unless the only way it happens if participation drops to such a level that it's not worth it, like it in the opens. That's the only way it goes away.
right. But when you pitch your tournament coming to a town, the co-anglers are a huge draw. That's another body that's going to stay in a hotel,
Heads and
another
heads.
body that's going to, eat.
Or heads and beds. Like, yeah.
Yeah, heads and beds. Tackle shops are going to sell more tackle. I mean, it's a big draw. So I don't see it happening. I think like kind of like what you said, Rich. It's like I know some boaters that I've talked to that are scopers. Some of the younger guys, and some of them they say they're done. I don't know. We'll see when 2026 rolls around, but they're kind of exploring different avenues. And then I know some of the guys that are, kind of like our age or been doing it for a while, and they've fished most of their life without it. But like you said, they've got it now, and they're kind of used to it, and they're learning how to use it. They don't want to do without it. I mean, and they're not actually going out there, casting the floaters. They're typically they're just doing their traditional style fishing, but they're using it to find their brush piles, and they're using it to find, the ends of laydowns and
efficiency
look around.
Make sure that you're hitting the wing dam, you're hitting the deep clumps of grass, you're hitting the stumps. Like,
so I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, yeah, there's co-anglers that some co-anglers could care less, but they may get a little bit of a bump of co-anglers, but I think they're going to lose some boaters too. So I don't know. It's kind of a mystery. I mean, we really won't know until the 2026 season starts rolling out.
By the time, and I think the Great Lakes division won't matter. Like, it's just not a factor. Like they've really not been suffering. Like they've had pretty good balance. Like it's not been an issue. So I don't think. Yeah,
I think
on the river, it doesn't matter.
I think everything's just saturated right now. There's so many little small wildcat tournaments and little side divisions. USA Bass and Angler's Choice. There's Illini Team Trail. Just in this area. There's so many small tournaments. There's clubs. There's federation. There's so much to fish. It's not like 15 years ago. There was stuff to fish, but like the BFL was a lot bigger draw because it wasn't near as watered down. You got all these high school tournaments. You got these college tournaments. There's just a lot to fish right now. You can't fish them all. Mm-hmm. I think that's part of it.
You sound like I tried to lay out a schedule, and all of a sudden I was looking at 38 days of time off, and I was like, well, that's probably not going to fly.
That's a lot. You got to be like.
We have unlimited PTO, but I don't know if that's gonna fly. Like,
yeah, yep. You got to own your own business to do that kind of stuff. Boats are, yeah. I'm seeing some burning seasons talking about the price of boats.
Burning scene is very negative about front-facing sonar in general. So,
they are expensive. But you don't have to have a brand new boat to compete for sure. I was talking to Drew Gill.
There's a lot of guys that hammer out wins in the BFLs that are old and running old rigs.
Especially in the Illini division. You go over in the Illini division, there's some people that run
Great Lakes
boats. Mm-hmm.
Felderman. There's another Fitzpatrick up here. Like they run older Rangers and boats like that.
You can buy like a 10, 12-year-old boat that's really nice boat for, I don't know, for significantly less than something that's new. And there's a lot of
25, 30 grand probably.
It's still a lot of money. But
yeah,
it's a lot less money than 90, and then you can get there's some really nice like early 2000s Rangers out there floating around, for like 12, 15, $16,000, something like that. You might have to spend a little bit of money on electronics and maybe upgrade the trolling motor, but I feel like you can be in a pretty decent boat for around that $20,000 range. And then if you're just like burning season doesn't like forward facing sonar, I mean, that's good for you. That's $3,000 or $4,000 less money you got to spend on electronics or whatever it is. I mean, I always recommend having a good graph to run by with maps and GPS and all that for sure, regardless of how you fish. But other than that, hell, if you don't care what you're looking at up front, you can fish with a Fortrex. Maybe you don't need spot lock. There's options.
Just use your hound retriever as your depth finder.
There you go. Drag a brick. That's how they used to do it, man.
So last night you had Roger Fitzpatrick, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Winner of the Grand Lake Toyota Championship.
Yeah.
Give us a little juicy nugget, one little tidbit from the stream that makes me want to go back and watch for more juicy nuggets.
Well, I think one of the interesting, there's quite a few kind of, he's a fisherman's fisherman, so to speak. Seasoned veteran, 61 years old. He retired last year, and he's really been able to spend a lot of time on the water. I think backstage we were talking about how he's fished for, I think in the last 2 months, he's fished, it seems like almost every day. He's missed a few days, but he's been on the water a lot, and he's just honed his craft in. But I think one of the cool things we were talking about was going against the grain of what most people on the water are doing. He caught those fish on a 1 ounce spinnerbait with size 7 willow leaves. A lot of times people think in the fall, you downsize to get more bites. You're throwing, 1/4 ounce spinnerbaits, 3/8 ounce spinnerbaits, stuff with smaller blades. And he went the complete opposite. And the same thing with his jig. Even though he was fishing, a lot of those docks he had some deep docks, but even around some of his shallower docks, he was still throwing a 1 ounce jig, a flipping jig, not a football jig, which oddly enough is kind of hard to find. You can find 3/4 ounce and 1 ounce football jigs, but there's not a lot of 1 ounce flipping jigs out there. But he was doing that with the sole purpose. Obviously the jig, it's a reaction bite, but when you get on a lake like Grand that's had so much pressure, that continuously gets pressure, but in the fall, one of the reasons why it can be really tough, there's a couple of reasons. The fish are spread out, but they've seen every freaking lure, in the tackle box all spring, all summer long. So they get pretty smart, but they're seeing those 3/8 ounce jigs and those 1/2 ounce jigs. And they're seeing those 1/4 ounce and those 3/8 ounce and 1/2 ounce spinner baits. So instead of downsizing and going ultra finesse, he went the other way. And there's a lot to be learned in that. I'm bad about that. I feel like if I'm not getting bites, I keep going smaller and smaller, but sometimes that's not the way to go. Sometimes it's to show them something big and gaudy, and you may not get as many bites, but you're in that kind of scenario fishing for 5 bites. So he's just looking for big fish. And then, another thing is how he makes his on the water decisions. Like he went through his practice. He had located some docks. What's the famous creek where Edwin Evers caught like almost 30 pounds in that one tournament?
That's up the Elk.
The Elk, yeah.
Right.
So he'd found some docks up the Elk, and they were producing some bites on the first day of practice. Well, he went up the second day and it was off. Well, the difference was the wind. There was no wind, or the wind had switched directions or something. So during the tournament, at some point in the tournament, the wind had switched back around to where it was hitting those docks. And so he knew that there was a little window that could possibly open up to where he could run up and fish those docks and catch some fish. But kind of that on the water type seasoned veteran decision-making stuff that really only comes from spending time on the water and putting those hours in. There's a lot of that kind of stuff floating around. That's kind of one of the deals where you could actually kind of write down a few things just to have in your back pocket that we could all use. And I'm sure I'm forgetting about some stuff. You know how it is, Rich, when you're in the middle of live stream, you're like navigating the chat, and you're trying to, if you're focusing a little bit on what the person's saying, but you're kind of anticipating the next question, that kind of stuff. But I need to go back and watch it myself. But it's a good listen. It starts rolling pretty good, after about 15 minutes, and he's a good speaker. He flows really nicely, and he broke down the tournament really well. So I feel like it's pretty easy listen. It's nice to have a guest that, can kind of lay it down and articulate what's going on, but He's just really solid dude. He's one of those calming type dudes, you know, like he just has that calming presence to him. He's a good all around guy. It was a good stream.
He speaks softly and carry a big flipping stick.
Exactly. He talked about all that too. He's a legend down here, you know, for sure. Everybody knows him.
All right, I just gifted 5 of my memberships to people. So
Nice.
if you guys ever want to go back and check out the members only content, a few of you guys have been members before. So yeah, I don't know. Just give people a little sample if they want. Yeah, so that can be found at the is it the Tin Horse Monty? Or is it just Tin Horse?
It's the 10 Horse Monty Fishing. Yeah, I put fishing on the backside of it. I don't know. I did that about 6 months ago. It was.
You were worried it wasn't long enough? Just figured you just keep adding words.
I don't know, man. I figured
Tin Horse Monty Fishing Extravaganza and Traveling Circus
Part
show.
2. Yeah, stretch it out, man. It's got to be good if it's really, really long, right? No, I just do that fishing on the backside of it. But yeah, it's a fun stream, man. It was a fun stream. You got anything? Got anybody lined up coming up, or?
I've talked to Hunter Bogman.
Cool.
Have you ever had him on? I feel like he would have been on your stream.
I think we did have him on. We were doing some MPFL stuff, and I think we did like a short segment with him. He's a super nice guy.
Maybe you'll get lucky next time, Patrick. You were not randomly drawn tonight. But talked to Luke Duncan, trying to like maybe coordinate something when they announce their roster for MPFL.
Cool. You ever want to get Big Al on? Let me know. I can get him on the MC. I can get him on I can give you his contact information. He's a fun guest.
Yeah, there's a couple
Duncan
of there.
Duncan would be fun. He's a busy man.
Those are 2 that come to mind. Efforting on a couple others, but yeah, I think the way the hockey schedule works out for my daughter's high school, they mostly have Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So I think I'm gonna be able to like stay on my Wednesday night. I think the main, I don't know. I need to talk to probably now that like when the water freezes here, maybe I can get Dane on and we can start putting together some things. Definitely gonna like for sure start hard in January. Whether we do anything before the first of the year, fundraising wise, I guess I'll have to determine.
But when is that tournament?
It's like May 2nd, 3rd. It's always like the first Saturday, Sunday in May.
Where's that at?
Out of La Crosse. No, La Crosse. Sorry, Wabasha, which is like an hour north of La Crosse.
Okay.
Mississippi River. It's pretty good fishing. It can be a little tough until you kind of figure out the river. But once you kind of start to understand where the fish want to go, I mean, you can usually figure them out and get some bites. Getting the right fish, right? That's the trick. But like getting bites, like we caught a lot of fish. We just missed a check this last year, but we raised like 12 grand in like 6 weeks.
That's phenomenal, man.
Yeah. So
wow, that's such a good thing. It's such a good thing. It seems like it's growing too. It's like I remember Panger
they're going to fill the field. Last year they had 97, and they'll almost certainly fill the field this year to 100 boats. So
yeah, that's good stuff. I've never been to that. Is there one down in Memphis? Is that right?
There is some. I've heard of that. It's not definitely it's affiliated with St. Jude, but not affiliated. I mean, different group that runs that.
Okay. I've never.
I don't think it's quite as impactful. Like what we raised, 97 teams raised like 1.13 or something $1 million in one tournament or something crazy last year.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. So how was that? Like I guess I hadn't heard you talk about that. I mean, overwhelming, like overall the experience. How'd you feel about it?
Like the tournament itself is like really awesome. Like they do, like the community comes out, like they have a Friday night kind of like angler get together dinner like kind of thing that's fun. And then Saturday night's kind of the banquet between day 1 and day 2, where they kind of like reveal all the totals and kind of have like some like they get at your heartstrings and your emotions. They like, right, they get some like patients and families and stuff to come up and kind of talk, and they recognize a lot of like the people that have like cumulative like over the years that have hit like $100,000 or different kind of levels or and things like that, and kind of talk about the impact. And so it's really, and then like they're like they got volunteers and tents and local businesses out there that are like super good pastries and hot coffee, and like they're cooking like freshly made biscuit muffin sandwiches on a Blackstone, handing them out to the anglers in the morning. They give you a lunch every day for your boat. You get a decent amount of like freebies and swag for signing up for the tournament.
Sounds better than the All-American.
Yeah, I mean, like there's like a big screen, and I guess you got Fat Cat Newton comes in MCs, and like there was a flyover in the national anthem. Like it's hard to explain, like, but just like the energy, like, and everybody's like super chatty, positive, like, and people want to do well in the tournament, but like there's just a different vibe, like you know, like even guys that like zero or bring in 2 fish come in and they got a smile on their face. You know what I mean? Like
it's for the cause,
yeah.
charity.
And don't get me wrong, like the competition is stiff and people like want to win, right? And then this last year, they like anybody that raises like $5,000 is entered into the random drawing for the new Skeeter. So you could like double zero in the tournament, but if you raise $5,000, you get your name drawn out of a hat for a new bass boat.
Nice. Huh. Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, it's linked to the St. Jude's Hospital in Memphis, who are saying there's another tournament out of Memphis that raises some money. But yeah, this is that St. Jude out of Memphis. Yes. But
what did you, this is a little bit of a pivot, but you got your Phoenix not too long ago. I haven't heard what you thought about it. Have you had, you've had some time behind the wheel and stuff enough to get an idea of how it runs and the performance?
Yeah, I ended up picking it up in late August. It's been good. Yeah, I don't know. Enjoying it. It's different style than the Camus, but both good boats. Got a Yamaha. Never had a Yamaha before. It's kind of fun. Doesn't sound as cool as the Merc,
no,
but like it's got good lower end torque and it's been super reliable so far. And yeah, I don't know. Like,
what model did you get?
721 ZXL.
Okay. Sweet. Yeah, I love that platform. That's a cool one. Yeah. That's been one of my favorite boats to ride around in for sure. I like the Camus too, honestly. I mean, but I like the 721 better. Just me personally. I've been on
your back compartment in the Camus for the co-angler, but
yeah, I know that's why.
Not that the Phoenix has a small compartment, but the Camus was like a monstrous like back compartment.
Yeah, that's a good co-angler video, like best bass compartment or best back deck compartments for the co-angler.
Here's the thought I had, and I was gonna make like a TikTok or a reel on this. What would you think? Because like they've had some organizations have rules about like 6 or 7 rods or whatever. Rods don't typically bother me as much as giant tackle bags.
Yeah.
I feel like you watching your videos, you bring a pretty responsible amount. You've got a system, you travel pretty light, you're pretty efficient. Like, do you think it would work, or this is a good idea to like basically have like take like an industry average of like a normal size back compartment and be like your check bag when you like, right, if it doesn't fit in this box, it's too big.
20 inches.
Does that seem unreasonable?
I mean,
you fish,
I don't know,
50 co-angler tournaments or more, right? Like, I mean, so we'd be talking like your average back compartment's probably like 20 by 18 by 16 high. Like, I'm not telling you like a lunch sack, right? I mean, like that seems reasonable, right? Something that carries like 6 or 8 3700s. Like,
yeah, I'm not gonna say that's not reasonable. It makes sense to me. I've downsized over the years. I see some co-owners with some ginormous
or
bags.
2 bags.
Yeah, you don't need all that, man.
Here's the thing is, like, if I have to walk around it all day trying to get from,
Ain't no
like, that's too much. Like, it's just
going for the net or something back and forth. You can trip and break your face. It's in the way. Yeah, some
so, like,
like
if I am, like, I feel like, because I usually try to empty out that compartment with the expectation they should be able to put their stuff in there. And if their bag's too big, then I'm like irritated that they couldn't fit it in that compartment. Personally, I mean, I'm not gonna like be aggressive about it, but like in the back of my mind, I'm like, gosh, man, like you're not even using that. Like you got your rain jacket back there and 3 rod slicks. I like took like I could put my tackle in there. Like if you're not gonna use it, like I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. There's some like my tackle bag. It fits really well in a nitro, like a Z20, Z21. It fits well in most Phoenixes. It fits well in a Camus, of course, a Triton. It doesn't fit in a Bass Cat. I don't care what you have. You can't even. You talked about a lunchbox. You can barely fit a lunchbox in a Bass Cat. They're rear deck.
They're just weird shape too. So like you could probably fit the stuff in there, but you'd have to take everything out of the bag and like
it's just
reorganize it in there.
I don't understand what's going on with that back deck. That's super inefficient. The front deck seems to be okay, but the back deck, but yeah, it is in the way, definitely on the floor. And I think most co-anglers could downsize a little bit. And I think as you do it a little more, you do kind of downsize a little bit. It just comes with experience. It's like having 20 different colors of jigs. Eventually, you just.
What do you think, Dustin? Is that a reasonable? Do you think that's would be a good rule for like BFLs and Toyotas?
Yeah.
Bass Nation events.
So heavy you have to lift it. I think Denny Breyer. Isn't there a story about Denny Breyer kicking somebody out of his boat like a co-angler because he brought too much crap? I'm pretty sure that's like a real thing that happened. I think he went to the tournament director and said, "This guy's not fishing with me. He's got too much stuff," and something happened. I'm sure you could dig it up somewhere, but that's been an issue before in the past. Somebody co-angler bringing too much crap. As far like you said with the rods, that's just a co-angler's headache. You know, the more rods you get, the more they wrap around each other, and it just becomes a burden. I
mean, if they got them all spread over the back deck,
that's yes. When it's time to go,
I'll one time be like, "Hey, I told you I was leaving in like 5 casts. Like you should have had your stuff together." Like after that, get your life jacket on, and if it's not ready, then you're gonna want to do that.
Yeah, you're only gonna have 5 rods instead of 6. Yeah, I agree.
I have spider rigging off the back deck. That's not going to work for me. Like you can't just have like 10 rods like spread out.
No, and put your stuff away. You know, if you got like if you're changing out some baits and you leave a couple plastic bags on the back deck and stuff, you know, when you're done rigging, put it all back into the tackle bag.
Put it in your hoodie pocket or put it in your whatever. Like yeah.
I mean, I agree. Braid's the worst. I don't understand how braid, it doesn't matter how hard you tighten it and wrap it around your rod. It seems like after you hit a couple waves, I don't know what happens if it slips on the spool, but it always comes loose for some reason, like a frog rod. It seems like my frog rod's always got slack in it when I get to my next spot.
I like that my spinning rods are like that. They always get loose. Drop shot rod never stays tight.
Yeah, same thing. Yep. I don't understand it, but it happens.
I feel like boaters make the best co-anglers. Like they get it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I don't know. I feel like we covered anything else you wanted to chat about? Anything you got coming up?
Not really.
Who's coming up next Tuesday?
What's that?
Who's coming up next Tuesday?
Oh, I don't know. I might have quite sure. There's a couple options. One is a local.
You mean you
guy.
don't have the whole 6 months every Tuesday mapped out?
No, man. I'm like day to day, man. I've done that in the past, try to get things all lined up, but I don't know, man. It's just I'm a lot more relaxed about it than I used to. It's kind of nice to get a last minute guess sometimes. Like with Roger, you know, he won that tournament on Sunday, and I was able to reach out to him and I didn't have anything booked, and he was able to jump on. I was actually not going to do a stream because it was Veterans Day, but there's a guy that's been pretty successful locally that I may reach out to him. I actually texted him a while back, and he's up for coming on, so I may reach out to him, see what happens. But no, I gotta
get out.
What's that?
But I hope to get out. Like, it's gonna be nice this weekend, but I don't know. It's this,
Oh yeah, you still got good open water stuff everywhere.
Yeah, it's getting cold, but like we had the ponds and stuff skimmed over on my house this weekend, but like the lakes are still open, and I'd like to get out and chase some smallies, but smallies aren't close to my house, and I don't know, like my mother-in-law's dog being at my house, and he's got like a bum foot and he whines, and I just don't know if my wife's back's been bothering, and I just don't know if like me taking off all day is gonna fly or not. So we'll see. So we'll see how the home front. If the home front is solid and stable, I'm getting out this weekend. If it's not, I don't know what's gonna happen.
How much time you got left? Like 3-4 weeks before it gets hard?
I haven't looked at the like extended forecast in a minute.
Yeah, we had a pretty nasty cold front come through here. It's just today warmed up into the 60s, but we had some like 20s and high 30s and low 40s for about 3 days.
I mean, we barely have any freezing temps in the next 10 days, so
you're good for a while.
We might have 2 weekends, unless there's something I can't see about to fall off a cliff. Because we have a couple nights that get like in the low 30s. But the thing is, like, it doesn't take much because like the water temps now are going to be like getting into the 40s. And the thing is, like, even if you get like a 65, 50 degree day, like the days are so short.
Yeah.
If it drops to 30 at night, everything keeps getting cooler because, like, it's the length of the day really starts working against us up here.
And the angle of that sun, it's not directly overhead. It's kind of at a pitch. So it's hitting that tree line a lot more during the day. Yeah, you're right. It makes a big difference. It happens
But just even the air temp, we're only getting above like those days that are like 30, but it gets up to 50. It's only getting above freezing for like 8 hours.
Yeah.
And then the other 16 hours are like cold. So
yeah. And a lot of times it's like that March 250, it only hits 50 like at 3 p.m. for a couple hours, and then it's right back down again. So most of the time it's well below. It's closer to 30 than it is to 50,
Yeah, that'll be a next year thing.
Yeah, I'm going somewhere tomorrow in the morning. I think I'm going to go to Egypt for a little bit.
What's the bike going to be like?
Well, there's some good offshore schools showing up. I went there. It's been a couple weeks, but man, I freaking crushed them, dude. It's one of them deals where you just got to idle. You got to idle, and you got to idle. And then when you find
side scan.
Yeah, there'll be a couple schools in the lake somewhere. I mean, there's like 7 places where they'll probably be. And if you find them, you just hit spot lock and take a flutter spoon and just mosh on them.
Beat on them.
It's pretty fun, man. But they move around, and I haven't been there in a couple weeks, so I'm gonna go look for that first. I'm gonna go try to find. I got some new baits that I'm gonna throw around, see if I can catch some fish on that. And if not, I can always pick up a chatterbait. It's got grass. Most of our lakes got grass, and right now that chatterbait's pretty good thing to be throwing around. There'll be a topwater bite too, frog. And
what kind of water temps do you got around you right now?
Mid-50s. Yep.
Chewing.
Yeah, it's perfect. The transitions kind of for the most part done. It's closer to the winter pattern than it is to the fall pattern, and everything's kind of done turning over and starting to stabilize. And the next couple weeks, can be really good. But fall fishing's tough, man. I don't care where you go. It's like one day you can knock their lights out, and the next day it can just get really tough. So, but if you find them, they're usually biting. It's just a matter of putting in the time and finding them. I just hope they're out there. Sometimes those shad are like sucked up to the bottom, and you can't. It makes it a little bit harder. But when they're elevated and they're getting pushed around, you can pick them up on side scan and you can crush them. That's what I hope to find.
Luckily, I can keep my boat in my garage, so I can push her right till the end. I don't have to like be in some place that like stores my boat and doesn't have to have it in by a certain date. So if we get a warm spell after Thanksgiving, I might pop her back out. We'll see.
Yeah, you got options, man. That's nice. You still in the same
Smallest like
spot you
real
were?
cold water. So what's
You,
that?
you still in the same spot that you lived at when I was up there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're close to. I imagine a lot of those smaller lakes around you probably freeze up fairly quickly, though.
Yeah, and I don't know. You start to me when we don't have shad. When we start getting low 40s, high 30s, I find it like that largemouth bite really slows down for
Yeah,
us. Like
around here too. It's like 42 degrees. I still feel like I can get a bite at 40, 42 for me personally. But when it gets below 42, man, it's one of them deals where you may not get a bite. You may go fish for 6 or 7 hours. You may not get a bite. It's just the way it is. But like that 42, 43 temperature range, I feel like I can go out and maybe only get a couple bites, but I got a lot more confidence at getting a few bites. So, yeah, I'll still go, but geez. And there's some days where it's freaking 37-degree water temps and you catch 7 or 8 or 10 fish on a jerkbait in 3 or 4 hours for whatever reason. Just you just got to go. Every day's different. But
all right.
yeah,
Well, I threw the Arsenal and the Omnia code up on the bottom for anybody that needs their November tackle fix. But I think we're gonna land the plane. Seems like chat slowed down.
cool. Well, I
Let
appreciate
Gabe get back to the fam or editing or whatever he's gonna do tonight, and make sure these dogs are doing all right at home. So
it.
appreciate you hopping on, Gabe. And have a good one. Good luck tomorrow.
All right, later.
Later. All right, everybody, be good. And we should see you next Wednesday night. Hopefully with a guest.